your kid just talked back to you, or refused to do what you asked, or broke a rule that you've told them about 100 times. You feel that heat rising, the anger, the urge to raise your voice, maybe even the urge to grab them by the shoulder a little too hard. You know that you're about to lose it. But what if I told you that there's a completely different way to handle these moments, a way that actually teaches respect instead of fear? I'm Dr. Lindsay, and I'm showing you the fathering approach that's backed by 60 years of psychology research. Something's changing in fatherhood, and you can feel it. More and more dads are rejecting the old model, the distant, authoritarian father who ruled through intimidation and control. They're stepping into a new role, still strong, still the leader of their family, but also connected, present, and emotionally available to their kids. This isn't about becoming soft. This isn't about letting your kids walk all over you or abandoning discipline. This is about becoming the father your kids will actually want a relationship with when they're adults. The father they'll call for advice. The father they'll trust with their struggles. The father they'll remember with gratitude instead of fear. And if you're sitting here thinking, but my dad was authoritarian and I turned out fine, I want you to consider something. Did you? Or did you just learn to survive? Did your relationship with your father teach you how to be emotionally healthy? Or did it teach you to shut down your feelings and never show weakness? The way many of us were fathered doesn't have to be the way that we father our children. Now, let me show you the new model, what I call amazing parenting or authoritative fathering, and why it matters for your kids' entire future. If your dad ruled through fear, if you learned to obey because you were scared of what would happen if you didn't, you're not alone. Most of us grew up in homes where fathers were authoritarian, strict and controlling, emotionally distant, quick to anger, and focused on punishment over teaching. Here's what decades of psychology research tells us about authoritative parenting. It doesn't work the way that we think it does. Yes, kids with authoritarian parents might obey in the moment. They might look well-behaved on the surface. But research consistently shows that these children struggle in almost every other area of life. The research findings are clear. Children of authoritarian parents have lower self-esteem, less self-confidence, and struggle with decision-making. They're more likely to experience depression, anxiety, and other mental health issues as adolescents and adults. They have worse social skills and more difficulty forming healthy peer relationships. They're actually more likely to engage in risky behaviors as teenagers because they never learned internal self-regulation. They only learned to avoid getting caught. They're less academically successful and more likely to struggle in school despite high parental expectations. And here's the kicker. Children of authoritarian fathers often grow up either to become authoritarian themselves or to swing in the opposite extreme, more permissive parents with no boundaries at all. The cycle continues. The old model of fatherhood, ruling through fear, intimidation, physical punishment, and emotional distance, produces children who are obedient but broken. The new model is called authoritative parenting, what I call amazing parenting. And the research on this is absolutely compelling. Authoritative fathers are both demanding and warm. They set high expectations and provide high support. They enforce boundaries and maintain emotional connection. Here's what the research shows about father involvement. Active, engaged fathering reduces behavioral problems in boys and psychological problems in girls. Children with involved fathers are 43% more likely to get A's in school and 33% less likely to repeat a grade. Father engagement enhances cognitive development, social skills, and emotion regulation through childhood. The quality of your relationship with your child matters more than the quantity of hours spent together. You don't need to be perfect. You don't need to be constantly present. You just need to be present enough of the time in a caring and dedicated way. But here's what you need to understand. Being an involved, authoritative father doesn't mean being soft. It doesn't mean avoiding discipline or letting your kids run wild. Real strength isn't dominating your kids through fear and control. Real strength is having the self-discipline to stay calm when you're angry. Real strength is getting on your child's eye level instead of towering over them. Real strength is teaching instead of threatening. This is the shift that more and more fathers are making this year. Are you ready to join them? Now, dads, we need to talk about something specific to you, because obviously I'm not a dad. Your physical presence matters in ways that it might not for moms. You're bigger than your kids and likely bigger than your child's mother. You're louder. You have more physical power. And whether you realize it or not, your children are actually aware of this, especially when you're angry. Here are 4 things that you need to monitor closely. Your height. Get on your child's eye level during teaching moments. Kneel down, sit next to them. Don't loom over them. When you tower over them while you're correcting their behavior, you're using your physical size to intimidate, even if that's not your intention. Your voice volume. Lower your voice. I mean it. You don't need to yell to command respect. In fact, a calm, firm, quiet voice is far more powerful than shouting. When you yell, your child stops listening to your words and starts managing their fear of you. Your tone. Check your tone. Is it harsh, sarcastic, mocking, critical, or is it firm but respectful? The same tone that you'd use with a colleague at work who made a mistake. Your children deserve the same respect that you show to other adults. 4th, your touch. This is critical. When you're teaching your child, when you're correcting behavior, a gentle hand on their shoulder can communicate connection and guidance. It says, I'm here. I'm with you. We're working through this together. But if you squeeze that shoulder when you're angry, if you grab their arm roughly, if you let your frustration turn physical in ways that can cause harm, whether that's through physical discipline or letting anger take control, you've crossed a line. And your child will remember that far longer than they'll remember whatever lesson you were trying to teach. The question isn't, are you allowed to touch your child? The question is, what is your touch communicating? Safety and guidance or fear and control? Now, let me teach you a simple consequence strategy that embodies everything we've been talking about. I call it try again, and it's a game changer. Here's how it works. When your child engages in an unwanted behavior, you calmly say, try again, and give them an immediate opportunity to correct the behavior. So if your 8-year-old rolls their eyes and says, whatever, Dad, when you tell them to clean their room, the old model response would be, don't you dare talk to me like that. Go to your room now. The new model response is to get on their eye level, use a calm tone, put a gentle hand on their shoulder, say, try again. Answer me with respect. Wait, and then they'll adjust. Okay, I'll clean it. It may be begrudgingly, but they're listening and they're able to go then do what you've asked of them. And then you can say, thank you. I appreciate when you speak to me respectfully, even when you're not happy about something. Let's use another example. Your 5-year-old pushes their little sister. The old response is, how many times do I have to tell you not to hit your sister? The new model response is to kneel, get to eye level, calmly but firmly say, try again. Use gentle hands with your sister. Show me how you ask for the toy nicely. Guide them through the correct behavior. When they do it, yes, that's how we treat other people in this family. Your child learns the right behavior, not just that they did something wrong. It's immediate. No delayed consequences, no timeout where they sit stewing in anger. They practice it the correct way right away. It maintains connection. And when you stay calm, you stay present and you guide them. It builds competence. When they successfully try again, they experience mastery. They learn, I can get this right. I can control my behavior. It takes time, but they'll get there. It models self-regulation. You staying calm while they're struggling teaches them more than any lecture ever could. This is a consequence without using blame, shame, or threats. This is what teaching actually looks like. 20 years from now, how will your kids describe you? Will they say that you were strong but kind? That you taught them without tearing them down? That they knew you had their backs no matter what? That they trusted you enough to come to you with their problems? Will they say you were scary when you were angry? That they walked on eggshells around you? That they obeyed you but never felt safe talking to you? The way that you father today shapes their entire adult life. their relationships, their self-worth, their mental health, their ability to regulate their own emotions, and yes, how they'll father their own children someday. The cultural shift is happening. More and more fathers are choosing connection over control, teaching over threatening, and presence over power plays. This is the new model of fatherhood in 2026. You don't have to repeat the parenting that you've received. You can be the father that you needed when you were young. If you want to learn the complete framework, the full psychology-backed system that thousands of parents are using to transform their families from reactive to intentional, I'm hosting a free Parenting Reset workshop. This isn't just for moms. This is for any parent who wants to build a family culture based on respect, connection, and effective teaching. These strategies work whether you're a dad, a mom, or co-parenting together. Register today, drlindsayemmerson.com/reset. The link is in the description. Amazing dads, your kids are watching. They're learning from you every single day. Show them what real strength looks like. Show them what it means to be a man who can stay calm under pressure, who can admit when he's wrong, and who can teach patience instead of ruling through fear. You've got this.